Okay, we are live. This is our fourth, fifth. I don't even remember now. I've been recording live a whole bunch of recordings for Nourish the Risktakers. And of course, we will be publishing this back on YouTube and as well as a audio podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. It is out there right now. Please go subscribe to it. We'll be uploading all of these episodes this week and having a huge launch party with some giveaways. That's a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert as we celebrate this. But I am so excited because one of my absolute favoritist people in the whole entire world, all 7 bazillion people out there. Oh, I gotta get my arrows straight. We've got one of my favoritists here. So Biba Atta, welcome. Thank you. You are definitely a nourishing person in my life, and I am extremely grateful. But why don't you give us a little introduction of who you are and what you're doing in the world?
Oh, sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I was so excited about this that yesterday I'm like, I think we have our podcast today. And I skipped a whole day. I was a day early. That's how excited I was.
Yeah.
My name is Biba Atta. I am the creator of the Dynamic Affirmations Method. I am also a personal evolution facilitator, self care catalyst, and an energy worker. So, what I am doing out here in the world is just being an emotional and spiritual support for people along their own personal evolution journey, because it is a journey, for God's sake. And the as much as we need support out there, like that's part of what I do. So I offer my own time, my own energy, my own little toolbox, insights, intuitive guidance, and those things, and other different products and things to assist people along their own personal evolution journey.
So let's
That
talk
is what
about
I'm here
personal
doing.
evolution. Yeah, let's talk about this. What is a personal evolution?
I knew you were going to ask that question.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, I mean, of course, personal evolution often gets confused with personal growth. So I'll talk about it in as I'm talking about personal growth as well. So personal growth is about becoming a better person, usually to do something. So you're increasing your knowledge and your understanding. You are learning new skills. You are changing your habits around and those types of things in order to become a better version of yourself. Whereas personal evolution is a bit more a deep, profound type of transformative process of change. So that could be a spiritual awakening. It could be some kind of dynamic shift that you're making into the way that you are as an individual and more around who you are being. It could involve some kind of shift around your values, your personal beliefs and perspectives that have the ability to really like completely change who you are as a person. And it is also a journey. It's a journey of self discovery, it's a journey
Right.
of self acceptance, and realization, acknowledgement, and all of that. And even though it sounds like, oh, this sounds fantastic, I can change my whole life, it doesn't always feel that way, even
Yeah.
though like the fun part is the self discovery, because like, oh, I'm learning new things about myself. But it doesn't always come through like, painting and
Yeah.
reading new books and fun
Yeah.
things. Sometimes it comes through hard lessons, dark nights of the soul, deep shadow work,
Right.
and things of that nature. And it's consistently flowing, it's consistently happening. So long as we're here and we're a bit more self-aware and present to to ourselves, we
Mhm.
are on that journey. Like, it doesn't end. So
Yeah. I
fun
know
times.
I know my experience with you, I wanna share with everybody, it is that it almost feels almost like when I step into, like, the personal evolution journey with you, you're like a tailor, right? So you're sitting on there on a pedestal and you've got some mirrors around you, but you have somebody that's coming in and, like, doing some, like, personal observation, like, some just, seeing what it looks like because we can't see always, do the pants fit right? Is the jacket cutting in where it needs to?
Right.
But you are
How's
that
my ass look?
tailor. Yeah, you're that tailor. So you're going around and you're looking at that eye. You
Mhm.
are coming at it not in like if it doesn't fit right or it doesn't work. You're not looking at it from a shame or judgment perspective. You're just making some adjustments and some changes. Like, how does this feel? How does this feel? and then, putting in some pins and then saying, okay, walk around, let me know what that's like, without doing, and then we work on like the sewing, right? Then we work on the
Mhm.
actual tailoring of it. But a lot of it
Mhm.
is like testing. You always kind of say, like, how does that feel for you? Like, what is it? What's going on? And it's interesting for a person like me who's very unaware. I tend to float through life without kind of really thinking about things. I know that I have impact. I know that I have, but I'm very detached
Mhm.
from all of it. And it's been really interesting with you, being able to not only feel an attachment to the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm creating. And I know that this is an ongoing thing for you, because you're always like, do you hear what this person is saying to you? Do you actually because you really do check it, and that sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I'm not. And then you like check in the next few days, like, did you hear this? Like, did you
Mhm.
actually like input this and integrate it? And it's so powerful to have someone to do that outside of your own head, outside of your, it's so completely nourishing. It's so completely just rejuvenating having someone be that, close to you, but also outside of you, right? You
Mhm.
don't have,
Mhm.
you have nothing to win or lose if I make those changes.
I ain't got a dog in a fight.
Nothing, right? You're just there as a casual observer in this like person who's invested, but not, you're not living my life. So you come in there and you just surround me with your energy, surround me with that check-in point, which I think is just absolutely like I can't stress enough how important that is to have somebody like that in your life, whether it be a friend, a relative, or someone that you hire, that you bring in, and have that as a sounding board, and also just that person who's reflecting back the fit, right? The fit,
Mhm. Yeah.
is this fitting? Is this working? How does this look? How does it feel? How are you moving in it? And that's the thing too, is when you make this personal evolution journey, how do you do the future moves in it, right? It isn't just
Yeah.
that moment.
No. No, it
It's
isn't.
how you take that learning. Tell me a bit about that, because I know you have lots to say about kind of moving along with what you learn in the personal evolution and then input that into the journey.
Oh, absolutely. Again, it's ongoing. So in the moment, it could feel like, oh, this is a little tight. This is a little, I'm not really sure. And you're coming at, the new horizons and things of your life with old information, like what you're familiar with, what you're comfortable with. And as you're starting to grow, you're starting to learn, you're starting to become more aware, you're starting to listen and recognize certain patterns, and just allowing those things to kind of like, you're not reacting to the things that you're thinking. You're not reacting in the way that you did before. You're able to have a pause, like that beautiful pause in between an action or a reaction. It's usually the place where personal evolution definitely shows up in the little small areas in your life. And so those things are going to constantly change. You're going to constantly get more information. You're going to constantly see how, oh, well, I would have reacted to this way before, but I'm able to see things a little bit differently. I know how to investigate it a little bit more now. I know how to look at the whole picture, or as much of the whole picture as I possibly can, as opposed to just straightforward. And it's like a new understanding. And the more that we live, the more we continue to evolve. So it's never just the pants fit great now, and so you've got pants for life. Like, no, no, no. They will get old and ratty. They will shred. Those seams will pop. You will need new pants. You will love this color, and then it's a new season, and you're like, mauve is out now. I'm ready for blue. You know what I mean? So it's constantly changing.
Yeah, my skin no longer enjoys mauve. You may move along, because
Right.
now we're in the pastel season, the
Right.
pastel era. Yeah, I love it. So, why do people come to this? Like, why do people come to like this part where they're like, okay, it's time for my personal evolution to have my focus? Like, what's going on in their life? Like, what are you finding people are ready for this? When do they know?
I think one of two things happens, that they are really looking to level up to a place that they've never been before. They are like, this is the Quan. and I know I can get there, but I recognize that with my fears, with my stuff, with all of my stuff, this
Yeah.
is going to be a hard road to hoe. I'm going to have to move boulders and mountains in order to get there, but it is so important. It's a big part of my destiny. It's a part of my purpose. It's a part of why I'm here. I know this is what's happening. So I'm willing to do those things in order to get there. But you also recognize that there is, I don't want to say easier. Sometimes there's ease involved as opposed to it being easier. There's another way to do things.
Yeah.
Maybe something where you're looking to flow more so it doesn't feel like with everything that you have to do it's like a fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So instead it's like
Yeah.
I'm able to see things a little bit differently. I'm able to see where I need to pivot and where I need to change and where I need to slow down or take a breather and those kinds of things. But usually, like the one thing that I see is when people are trying to get to like that thing up there, like off in the distance. Or the other one is that they've had a really, really rough time, a really rough experience. They've gotten to a point in their life where they're just like, I cannot continue to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I am making a commitment to myself that I won't have an experience like this again. Or I'm tired of feeling like this and I need something else
Mm-hmm.
drastic. I need things to be completely 180 type change. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to do what is necessary in order for that to happen. So in both cases, it's a commitment to yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it just looks different. But
Yeah.
ultimately, that's the baseline.
I think about like how you and I met. We met in like a Facebook group, and I don't even know. Like it was like we stumbled upon each other. I joined one of your lives in the group, and I think you were doing EFT at the time, and
Mhm.
it was interesting because there was like a group of people in the chat that really showed up for everybody. And like we kind of all commented, and I just sort of fell into it. Like I just tumbled, all of a sudden I was in there. And it was interesting because I didn't have to do a lot in order for people to start recognizing me and acknowledging me and being
Mhm.
and tagging me in their lives. And it was
Mhm.
really an interesting, I think, introduction because I think up until that point, I haven't really had like really great deep relationships like where I've just really stepped in and allowed myself to be nourished and allowed myself to be, like tagged and invited in. I've
Yeah.
just kind of always been on the outside, right? And it's just like if it
Mhm.
happened, it happened, but I didn't like pursue it. And with that group, and you in particular, because you definitely led the charge in that tagging me and bringing me in, it was like a shift happened because I was like, wait a second, I actually can be a part of a community. I can be a part of a really cool group of people that are showing up for each other and being really supportive and just like celebrating the heck out of each other without
Mhm.
really any like rules, requirements, like worry about reciprocity. It was just like, if you can make it Thursday night, we're all just going to get together and, toss some cards or do some EFT or whatever, right? Like it was
Whatever.
just so relaxing and
Mhm.
so like I could finally um drop some of those expectations that I needed to uphold within a relationship. And,
Yeah.
as I started to get to know you more, I mean, definitely you're that kind of person. You're just really inviting. And I love how you are in the catalyst. Like you're like you're the chief welcome officer in the catalyst, the chief confetti officer, right? Like you're right in there. And just making people feel really welcome. And I think like
Mhm.
when I think of like nourishment, when I think of nurturing, not just welcoming people, but letting people be welcomed is a skill.
Mhm. Yeah.
Letting people be welcomed,
Mhm.
right? It's not just like a throwing in and being like, figure your stuff out. Letting them be welcomed, letting them be celebrated, letting them be really seen and heard. And you're incredible at that. Tell me about
Mhm.
how you feel about that. Like, why do you do that? How does that come about? Like, what's that skill? Like, have you always been like that, or is that something that you've also been cultivating?
Oh my God. I feel like I'm getting ready to cry because I haven't thought of that until just now. I think that I'm a seer and in so many senses of the word, and really part of what makes like my gift work, what makes me work is that I want people to be seen. Like I see you. And so when I'm welcoming people, it's like, I see you, you're here, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. Like you're a new addition, your new energy, your new knowledge, new all of the things. And I want people to like to see and recognize that I've seen them or that they have been seen. Because I know how it feels, not to be seen. I know how it feels. Hey L'Oreal. I know how it feels not to be acknowledged. And so many people, we need that, and it's a way for us to connect with each other. I mean, I think that it's very easy to kind of just be behind the curtains and just kind of doing stuff under the cloak of darkness. But then when you come out, like, oh, someone noticed,
Mm-hmm.
like there is beauty in that. And so when I was in, it was the Woo Collective, it was amazing group,
Mm-hmm.
just with the premise of that they have it open on Thursdays for everybody to go live and share their gifts. And it was life changing for so many people who really use that as an opportunity, and so many great connections were made. And part of what I kind of took some of what the purpose of that was, which is when you decided to go live, like we want to hear you, we want to see you, we want to feel your energy. Everyone here is talented, everyone here is gifted, everyone here has something amazing to offer, and you're important. You're all important. So it's not easy to get on camera and talk to a group of people you've never met, and it's a vulnerable experience. And so it's kind of
Yeah.
like the kid that comes into a class like for the first time and it's like, all right kids, stop doing whatever you're doing, this is
Yeah.
Jackie, she's new. And it's like that fear, that vulnerability, that I'm out here, does anybody really see me, are they willing to connect? And so that's just a like really really important to me. I've never thought about it, but it's what I do because it is important. So thank you for even saying that, because I didn't even see that until just now.
Yeah, you are definitely, and when you talk about like seeing people, I think this is really interesting. It's something I want to point out. It isn't just like the good shit. Okay? It isn't like honestly, like the ability, when we talk about nourishing the risk takers, it is really also about letting your awkwardness, letting your uncomfortableness, letting your
Mm-hmm.
shadows, letting your the things that you think are the worst parts of you also being seen by other people,
Mm.
that I think is when the nourishing starts to happen, right? Because one, we build relationships with friends. We know our friends aren't perfect. We know we're going to get into fights. We know but it's when we show up for each other, even when it sucks, even when we know the person hasn't slept in a few days and maybe snapped it. Like these are
Yeah.
things that make us human, that make us people, right? And we stop policing, you have to be this perfect in order to be my friend. It's like
Right.
the ride, right? It's like you got to be this height to ride the ride. You got to be this perfect in order to be my friend. When you start to like let people see you when you're not the greatest too, that is nourishing. Like that is and then
Mm.
letting someone like Biba see you in that moment. You're still recognized as a whole person. You're recognized as a person being in the world. And I can't think of another greater achievement is being seen like that, is really being in your moment. We talk about authenticity and being
Yeah.
vulnerable, and all that stuff is manufactured. It's showing up when you haven't slept or you don't feel well, and letting other people still see you and know that you are a whole person and have value,
Yeah.
even if you can't be an active contributor in any way. Just you being there is phenomenal. And Biba
Yeah.
sees that. So Biba even knows when like I'm a little shit. Biba will come at, she does this. We have in the Create the Girls Catalyst, she has gifts. We have the gift of gifting. And Biba is the queen of it, the grand poobah of gifting. Basically, if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, we have this little thing called hashtag don't tell Biba. And all over the internet, Alice and I are leaving little Easter eggs. You'll just all of a sudden doing something, mind your own business. All of a sudden you're gonna see don't tell Biba, because we're out there doing stuff we shouldn't be doing. But the thing is that Biba will do these like loving gifts. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes they're a serious side eye, like if if she's pulling the Oprah gif out,
Oh yeah.
run, right? But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, again, you're still showing that you're seeing us, you're hearing us, you're still
Mhm.
standing by us, even when, it just feels icky,
Yeah.
and I think this is something that's a gift, and you have that. And I love it. I don't always read comments in here, but L'Oreal's and it says,
Oh my
L'Oreal says
God.
it's so beautiful seeing Biba where she is now. She was a whole other person when I first got to know her. She's a testament of what she teaches. It's beautiful. Yeah, you're on your own personal evolution, right? Like you're Biba, you're not out there going, hello, I figured it all out, come here. No, you're like arms hand in, like, let's go, like hopping is we're going personal evolution shopping kind of thing, right? Like, yeah. So talk about that. Like, what's your personal evolution been like?
Oh, okay.
Like,
This is
oh,
where we're going. This is where we're going. I should have known. Oh my gosh, my personal evolution has been, it has been a roller coaster. It is a roller coaster I can't get off of. I've been asking them to stop the ride for years now, and they're just like, no, let's go faster. Let's make the highs really high. Let's make the
yeah. I'm
lows
on lunch. I can't stop this.
right, right. Oh God, I forgot you were on it. Like my bad. Like that guy left. He's no longer so
Yeah.
appointed to that
Shift
ride.
change. Sorry.
Right, right. Right. He never returned from lunch. He got fired. We
Yeah.
didn't realize we were on it. So yeah, no. The my journey has been something else entirely. And I've tried to be really honest about what it looks like. Like I've rolled on here in tears. I've rolled on here in the middle of, some really dark moments, dark personal moments. I've rolled on here, after a walk. Like I'm still in the park sweating, you
Yeah.
know, like the do-rag on, all the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, but it's been freaking work. It's been freaking work. And I mean, again, it started with a commitment to myself. And it's so funny that you have this when you make this commitment, like you have maybe a general idea of what you would like to see. Like, oh, I would like to feel better about myself. I would like to feel more confident. I would like to show up more. I would like to feel more confident on camera. I would like to be successful in my business. I would like to find a love partnership or, these kinds of things. Do you think that when you make these commitments and you start to change habits and all the other things, that this is what you're going to see? And it's just going to be, don't want to use the word easy because I don't think anybody who makes a commitment like that is like, this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's just not. But
Yeah.
I think that we believe that there is an end. And I think that we believe that at the end, we're going to get the prize, the gold coin, or, treasure box and all these other things. And that has not been so evident in that way. There's been a number of prizes, but they don't look like what I thought they would look like,
Mm.
at all.
Yeah.
um, they don't feel like how I thought that they would feel.
Right.
And it's because at the time that I made the commitment and I said, I do not want to feel like this. I do not want my life to be like this. I had no idea like what was possible for me. It's like reading a lot of these authors, these self-help leaders and whatnot, and they're just like, oh, you just feel positive about yourself. Positive things will happen in your life. And you're like, that sounds wonderful, but I don't see how it could be like that. And I don't know what that's going to look like for me. Like, I know what I'm used to. I know the devil I'm used to. I know the people I'm around. I know what my personal lived experience has been. I know what I see. I know where I am. So if I'm thinking about all of this amazing stuff that I want, like, I can't picture myself there, but I'm
Yeah.
committing to myself in a sense that I want something better than what I have now.
Mm.
And so if I would have known that what I've gained from making this commitment to myself would be this,
Yeah.
I would have wished I would have done it sooner. And I would have understood a little bit more about what to ask for. Because the other things that we tend to ask for is all stuff that's outside of us.
Right.
You know, some
Yeah.
some we want a Range Rover, we want a new house with the picket fence, we want Idris Elba or Jason freaking Moa. Lord, Jesus. Like we We want, my God, I think I just saw something on Instagram and they had the music playing and he was wet and he had the pants on and the tattoos and he had it.
Yeah. Have you seen him fishing?
No, there's a video of him fishing.
Yeah, and he's wearing some traditional garb that
Oh.
maybe gets blown up in the wind. I'm just saying. We're just saying.
You need to send this.
I
I
don't
need
want to
this.
objectify anyone. I'm just saying it was a beautiful view of some. I was just, beautiful, beautiful people in the world who are out there just absolutely sharing everything that is beautiful about them, and I will
Yes.
help celebrate it.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Just
Yeah, we can't wish for
unreal.
Jason though. We can wish that someone sends us a link to that video, which I will happily do for
I need to
anyone.
manifest that like in about 20
But
minutes.
we can't wish for Jason. We can't wish for Idris. He seems to be in a loving, committed
Very,
relationship, and
yes,
like that
married
would
to
be
a
very nice.
beautiful, extraordinary woman. So
Right.
find
Right.
somebody else. But we are wanting all of this external stuff. We want to be smaller. We want to look
Yeah.
younger. We want
Yeah.
long hair. We want straight
Women
white
lottery.
teeth, and
Yeah.
we want all this money. And so when we're committing to ourselves and we're saying like this is what I want, it's all stuff outside of you. It
Yeah.
almost always is. No one is asking for a deep, profound sense of peace. No one, nobody's asking for that. Nobody wants internal peace, but it is freaking priceless. It really legitimately is. They're like, let me see, Jason Momoa or deep internal peace. Give me Jason.
I'm just like picturing that genie pops out. He's like, you got 3 wishes. And it's
Like,
like, one of them could be, and you're like, ooh, I'm going to go with the deep internal sense of peace. Like, I'm just going to go with contentment, please. And
yes,
the genie would be like,
but
ah,
you don't want a
okay.
Mercedes?
Yeah, you don't want money in your bank account. You're like, contentment. I would just like a little bit of contentment, please.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe contentment and to be able to walk in high heels without falling. But
Oh, yeah.
can you give me the Lady Gaga heel walking ability, please?
Absolutely.
I mean, but yeah, we're not asking for contentment. We're not asking for deep personal peace.
Oh,
We're not asking for a deep sense of awareness of who we are. We're not asking for us to prioritize ourselves you know, in the biggest way possible in all of the things. We're not asking for that level of self-awareness that you can finally see yourself, in a particular way and understand why you operate the way that you do. Like, we're not asking for that.
okay,
But
Biba, I
personal
asked you on
evolution.
my show, and I did not ask you to come attack me like that. Like,
Did I read you, baby?
this is my show, and you just reached in and were like, well, you asked me a personal question earlier. Let me just spill all of your inside thoughts out here for this podcast. I see what's happening here.
I
All
mean,
right.
this is what happens when bad cop and badder cop get together. So,
It's true. It's
you
true.
get me, I get you, we get each other.
But you are so right. And now, like, I'm actually going to take, I love that you said this because I'm doing a little experiment over on TikTok with co-creation. And now I put one out there, but you know what? It was the Jason Momoa of goals. And now I need to go back and actually be like, okay, what am I actually co-creating in the world in order for this thing to happen? The Jason Momoa of business goals, we'll just say, in order for that to happen, what actually has to change within me? What actually has to change with the way that I'm viewing the world and the way I'm perceiving and reacting and interacting with the world? That's what I need to be co-creating in order to manifest the Jason Momoa of business dreams, the Idris Elba of business goals.
Oh my gosh.
I've gone big. I'll just say this. I have a big, beautiful goal, the Idris Elba of goals, but I need to actually focus in here first. I need to go, okay, what do I need to prepare? What do I need to co-create? That's what I'm focusing on. That's what I'm asking the wish for or the manifestation of the affirmation in there.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a game changer, Biba. That is a big game changer because I think I've been focusing on the what and not the who. And really, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm the problem.
Starts and ends. Right. It
I'm the
starts and
problem
ends
and
with
the
all of
solution.
us.
Yeah. Hi,
Yeah.
it's me. I'm the solution. It's me.
Yeah. Yeah. That literally is it. And, that has been one of the biggest lessons in all of this. Like, you read the books and they say this, like, oh, it's in, once you change your insides, your external environment will completely change. I'm like, what does that even mean? Until
Yeah.
you start doing it, and then you start seeing it, and then you start feeling it. Then it's like, this is how you live your life.
Yeah. I think the challenge is we see a lot of these content out there that it's like you cut the rug out of the magazine, you put it in the this is an actual from Abraham Hicks. I remember she was flying home and she wanted a new rug for her front. I don't know why this is stuck in my head. This story's living rent free forever. But she was on the plane and she found this beautiful rug in a magazine. She cut it out and she put it in her manifestation box or whatever. Anyways, so then a couple days later, somehow this rug magically appears. I can't remember the whole details of the story. I might have skipped out a few things, but it was the rug, right? And so then I'm stuck in my head. I'm like, okay, what's my rug? But it isn't. It's like, what did I do to prepare the house to have the rug there? What did I have to do some sweeping? Did I have to do some cleaning? Did I have to change the way I come in the door? Do I have to change where I put my shoes so that this beautiful rug doesn't get muddy? Like, there's all that, because in my head, I'm going, oh, I'm already going to get that rug dirty. There's no sense getting a new rug.
Right.
So is the rug ever happening? No, because I've already decided I'm going to get it muddy with my horrible shoes.
So then you're not going to do it at all.
So we're not going to do that. Yeah. So then I got to change either the way I come in the door, or that I have a shoe rack that's first things first, or that I have a different rug right in front of the beautiful rug that I get to, like, so it's more of the solution, the more the opportunity for that to come into place, as opposed to the actual object.
But did you also hear how much work there was now?
There was.
Now now you're worried about it getting dirty. Now you got to think about where it's going to be. Is this the right door? Do I have to now get something else to make it so that this would be an ideal place for this particular rug? We haven't even gotten to the getting the rug. You're at all of this other stuff that's happening before the rug even comes in. That is the work. That's the work.
I think it's also that we focus on, like, that's going to be the last rug we're ever going to get.
Yeah.
So we got to make it, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be the best rug that we've ever got. And that it's got to fit perfectly, and that it's got to be matching everything perfectly, and that we can't ever wear it out, and that we can't ever. So then we're also focusing on that, right? It becomes
never moving.
Yeah. And it's like so desperate, right? It's just like, man, I'm doing all this work for this rug. So meanwhile, we could have just gone out, got a really fantastic rug, put it in our front hall, and then focus on the other things that we got to do. So we also do too much work sometimes in the co-creation part, as opposed to just letting it, like, be like, just put the rug down, like, just put it down, enjoy it for however much time you have. Same as if Jason Momoa comes, maybe he's here for a little short time and not a long time,
Let's not be too attached to Jason.
Yeah, I'm
Jason
not gonna
be a moment.
He could be
Jason's a moment Momoa.
Moment with Momoa probably should be best. A Momoant, if you will. And Jason, if you ever need me to come up with business ideas, got you. But listen, we're not worrying about how long we're spending with him. We're not gonna say, you know what, Jason, sorry, this isn't gonna last a long time. I think you're just here just to enjoy me and for a minute, and I can't do that. No, you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, come on in. In fact, you want to see my new rug? Oh, that's horrible. That's a euphemism that I did not. This is. You brought up Jason, and now
everybody's sweating.
What's happening? What is happening here? Let's take a moment here. But listen, like, that's it, right? We're spending too much time worrying on the outcome. We're too much time worrying in the thing. So that's not very nourishing. That's wearing ourselves out.
Oh, yes. It's me. I'm the problem. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So how do we stop that?
What?
How do we stop doing that? How how do we just like enjoy the co-creation process? Because that's part of the personal evolution, right? Is actually stepping in and being like, this isn't hard work. This isn't like we're not creating like, my God, I'm 40, I'm gonna be 45 this year. Like I'm in the I don't want to work hard
Yeah.
anymore. I'm in the Freedom 45 club. Like, I really
Mm.
want to just enjoy the rest of my time here on earth, building, co-creating, collaborating. I can get off the struggle bus and let it go down the block. Like, I don't need
Yeah.
that. So how do we stop that? How do we create that within ourselves? What do we do? What's like the process here?
Process. The process really is around self-discovery.
Mm.
It's around really getting to know yourself
Ooh,
in all
no.
of the ways. Nobody wants to do it.
In
No,
this
no.
one of me? No.
I don't want to know me. Crazy. Yeah, it's really the self-discovery. Like the self-discovery process really could be fun. You can discover more about yourself in painting, in doing things that you use, like making friendship bracelets if that was your thing or whatever. Like all kinds of stuff comes up when you're in this comfortable, fun, meditative space. It doesn't have to be difficult. I mean, there are plenty. Look, you can make it. I was just listening to Karina on Briar's podcast. She said you could make it hard if you want to, if that's what you need. I was like, oh, damn, that hit me.
Yeah,
And I
if that's
felt
what you
it.
need. I know
If
she said
that's
that
what
the
you
other
need.
day, and I was like, okay. Like,
You don't
you
have
don't
to
have to
cuss
be,
at me like that, Karina.
yeah, you don't have
Jesus.
to, like, that's rude. I thought we were friends. Like, what's happening here? Yeah, like, what?
So rude.
Yeah,
But I mean, she was right though. Like sometimes people really do need it to be, they need it to be the dark night of the soul because they're not
right.
hearing it or listening any other way.
Yeah,
But the self-discovery process is the start. Like you get to
yeah,
know yourself, you get to know how you roll, know how you
yeah.
think, know what your kinks are, know what your triggers are. You learn so much about yourself. And in that, you're saying, all right, well, I recognize that I've performed better, or I do better, or I feel better, or I am better when these things happen. How can I invite more of these things?
Oh,
So, are there some things that I can do less of that don't make me feel good, don't make me perform well, don't make me that I'm not energized by doing that? Are there some things that I can let go of? And so, learning all about yourself really, like, it's necessary. There is so much to glean from getting more deeply connected with ourselves. So it's
yeah,
not just, let me just stop doing this. Let me think about this differently. It really is about coming around to having a different kind of life.
yeah. Like me having spontaneous naps throughout my day.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Biba was really worried about me. She's like, you're in the room, you're in the catalyst all the time, and you're always in the room. Like, do you ever take breaks?" And I was like, "Oh, confession time." Like,
Because
when
I
I'm
was kicking you out. I was
yeah,
kicking you out of your own
yeah, I
space.
was like, when I'm really quiet and nobody's asking me anything, I'm probably napping. And Biba was like, "I'm sorry, what?" I'm like, "Yeah, I turn up the volume on my laptop and then I just fall asleep. And then
Yeah.
somebody comes in and says, Marisa, can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Huh, yeah." Yes, absolutely. And Biba, I now know, like, I think Biba's changed. You've changed the way you look at me now. You're like, you're just
I
picturing me
do.
like I'm just sleeping in this chair, waiting. I'm like a gentle old giant, just waiting in the tree for the person to come up and get some wisdom. And I'm just, and then I gave myself that permission though, because
Yeah,
I I I'm a weird, like, if I get an idea in my head, I'll stay up all night and
I
just
know.
pursue it.
I know.
But what I was doing was I was feeling bad about that, right? Because then I was
Mhm.
tired. But now
Yeah.
I just sleep during the day. I'm like, whatever. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, my brain's like, okay, we've done our thinking. Now we
Hmm.
can sleep. So if I sleep for like 40-minute blurbs throughout the day in between
Hmm.
people coming into the catalyst, my brain is
Yeah.
happier than
Yes.
beating up I used to do on,
Hmm.
oh, you stayed up all night working on something. Now you're tired. Yeah, now
Yeah.
I'm tired and I'm gonna go have a nap.
Yeah, yeah. And notice I piped down on kicking you out of your own space because
Yeah.
after we've had the conversation, I've calmed down. I'm like, okay, you are getting sleep.
But
There's sleep
also
is happening.
you pipe down because you're probably like, she's probably sleeping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just like, let me leave her
I'm in the
alone.
room really quietly. Are you sleeping? I'm like,
I'm gonna send private messages to everybody in the room, like, don't you ask her for it.
she's sleeping.
shut the
Yeah,
hell
I
up.
mean, that's the thing, but I love it. It's honestly, and that, like, and my brain loves, like, my brain, I definitely am an 80-year-old man. I've already reached into that grandpa just sleeping at the, like, the dinner table. Like, this was good for me, and then you have a nap, and then I wake up and I'm like, let's go play a game, kids. Like, that's what I'm at. And I think that's part of my personal evolution, right? Because I thought I
Mhm.
had to be on all the time. I had to be
Yeah.
professional. My corporate career, you can't just fall asleep at your desk. They tend to frown at that. I fell asleep at some meetings because it was just so, like, dry and boring. And I'm like,
Yeah.
plus I have narcolepsy. So, like, all of a sudden I'd be like,
Mhm.
and then I, jolt awake. And that's awkward.
Yeah.
Part of that personal evolution was me realizing I was never going to do well in a corporate space because I
Mhm.
like naps throughout the day and
Yeah.
they don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's part of the personal evolution. Part of it is, like, who I want to
Mhm.
work with. We've been having lots of talks,
Woo.
both you and I, about, like, who do we want to work with in the world? Like, who do we really
Mhm.
want to step into being in collaboration and connection and partnership? Because you have a very intimate practice with people.
Yes, I do.
You have to like them,
Yes, I do. We're going
right?
to be spending some time together. I got to be able to stomach you. And you have to be able to stomach me. Maybe I play too much. Maybe you don't like my joke. Maybe you really don't want to be held accountable. Maybe you want this to continue to be an issue that you hold on to and just kind of want to kvetch about this for the rest of your days. Like we don't need to go. We don't go together
Yeah. Well, we've been talking about personal responsibility.
then.
So, and this goes both in your line of work and my line of work, because you really don't want somebody in there who is expecting you to fix all their shit.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I had to actually come around. Like, that's another part of my personal evolution. When I first started doing like energy healing and work, like, I'm listening to all these other coaches out here, like, let me heal you. My work can heal you. And I was saying that too. But it never resonated well with me. I'm like,
No.
this doesn't feel right, but I don't know what else to say. So I'm going to say this. This is what everybody is saying. This is what people who are on the other end are used to hearing. And so
Yeah.
they want to be healed. These
Yeah.
people are saying, I can heal you, and they're getting clients. And I'm just
Right.
like, all right, this is what I'm going to say. Like, I don't feel the same way even about that word. I
Yeah.
don't, it's like almost like, is it even possible in certain circumstances? And when it comes to personal evolution, I don't believe that it is.
Yeah.
So,
I think that the use of that word in those circles is rooted in classism, right? So it's like,
mm,
come to that person and then they're supposed to heal you. You give them money and they heal you, right? And
yeah,
that's classism. Whereas, like, what we're coming into our done with you, the co-creation,
yeah,
the
yeah.
the
We
era
support
where
you.
we're the collaboratives, right? We're the
Yeah.
conspirators. We're the, it's not that I come in and I fix, even with in a business, right? People are like,
Mm,
well, what if I need all this and this? I'm like, well, here's the thing. You have to show up in the room and be there
mhm,
with me. I'm not going to deliver you anything ever. Like, it's just not ever going to happen. But if you're in the
right.
room, I'm in there working with you. And
Yeah.
it's a very different mindset. And it's a very
Mhm,
different intention. And you mentioned right at the beginning, it's a commitment to yourself, a commitment to
mhm,
really showing up, to being able
right.
to know that Biba's not there to save your life. Biba's not there
Um,
to heal you. Biba's not there. Biba's there to be that facilitator, that guide doing what Biba knows best. In
mhm,
that, you though are the catalyst. You're the person, the creator, the navigator of your own destiny, if you
yeah.
will. And same thing with me. I can't work with a business owner that isn't personally responsible for their own outcomes in their business. We've seen
Mhm.
business owners that blame everybody else out for their success or lack thereof, like, and
Right,
so
right.
it's just, it gets tiring, right? It's just
Yeah.
like, well, you gotta, it's your thing.
Right.
um
Look,
and
I
so I think,
can't want it better. I can't want it more for you than you want for yourself. Like we out of that game. I mean, I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, because if in the end of the day, I'm in the energy management business of myself, right? And the energy management business in New Jersey with Tony Soprano. No, I'm just kidding.
I like that. The energy management business. I'm gonna make you
Yeah,
a new, like we did the prophet father. Like, I'm gonna do you now. I'm in the energy management business. They
yes,
got a guy.
I
Um,
did. Yeah, I need that now. Now I
TV
need that
show.
now.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to
Yeah.
have a TV show that's just basically
Ooh,
based on these themes. I'm just saying. I'm just putting
that
it out
sounds fun.
into the universe.
I love it.
That maybe we start to explore some of these themes. But yeah, okay. So you're in the energy management business of yourself, your
Of
own energy.
myself.
Yeah.
of myself. And I know I know what it takes for me to hold space for people. I mean, I have a lot of friends. I've been doing this for a long time, a long, long time. I've
Right.
been burned, I've been, burned out, I've been, all of the things. And I recognize that there is a way for me to show up. There's a way for me to hold space that ends up being safe for me as well as the person who I'm holding space for. And that means that I have to have boundaries. And I had to learn it the hard way. That means that I have to uphold those boundaries. And that means that there may be some situations where people are just like, I don't like her, or she's a
Mhm.
whole bitch because she is doing this, or she said no. Like, who does she think she is? So, those happen to be some of my own triggers, my
Mhm.
own limiting beliefs, my own self limiting beliefs, and rooted in certain like core fears that I have. So, it's a constant struggle. Like, everybody's not going to like you, but you got to like yourself. You got to manage your own energy. You got to hold space for you. You got to prioritize yourself above all. And what you do for yourself means that it's good for everyone else, because it's also showing other people like what is possible, what they're capable of doing, what they have a right to do, where they can have permission to do these things. And so I don't want to be doing any work with anyone who is not willing to make that commitment to themselves. If you're not going to commit to yourself, then we have nothing to talk about.
That was a whole sermon. You got out and you're like, we're gonna do this right now. I think it's true, and I'm the same way in my business. People sometimes ask me these questions when they're looking to join the Catalyst, and I just know that they're not ready. Like I'm just like,
Mhm.
I don't want to like. It's a valid question. I'll say this. I'll always be like, it's a valid question.
Yeah.
It's none of my business to answer it, honestly. Like it's with you to answer, and sometimes that
Mhm.
is a bit jarring. Like you said, people think you're a whole bitch, not a half bitch, a whole bitch.
Full of it.
And it's just it's like it's how we're going to be. It's how we protect our own energy. It's
Yeah.
how when I think the number one question I get is like, well, what happens if I come into the room and you're helping someone else?
What?
What normally happens when you go to like Best Buy and someone's helping someone else? Like, what do? Do you get mad? Do you walk out? Do you browse? Do you do other things? Do you call your mom? Like there's so many things you could do. What's best for you?
Yeah.
And their response is how I know whether they're going to fit in the community, right?
Yeah.
Because of
Yeah.
course the best response is I'm going to work on my business until you've got a moment, and then I'm going to step up and be like hello, or I'm going to put in chat, hey Marisa, once you're done, I've got some really cool
Yeah.
questions. Somebody that comes in all the time, she's like, I know you're talking to somebody, I'm just putting my name on the list, I'm signing up. And I love that. Like that's
Yeah.
personal responsibility for themselves
Mhm.
and their
Mhm.
time, right? Or
Mhm.
like, oh, I've
Mhm.
got 10 minutes, I popped in here, but if you're not going to be ready, can I come back in half? Yeah, they do this all the time. That's asking for help. That is
Mhm.
being personally responsible for themselves. If
Yeah.
they just like leave or storm out and be like, oh, I can never get any help. Like, can you imagine the amount of times I'm in the room with nobody ever asking me anything? Like, it's just like,
Right. Sometimes we're in there and it's complete and total silence. Like people are all,
absolutely
well, I don't know, kind of running their business,
running their
kind of what they're
business.
doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's what we're looking for, and I'm being very open now about this is like, and that's part of my
Mhm.
personal evolution. There was a time where I wouldn't say things like that. I'd be like, "It's fine.
Mhm.
You just come in, I'll make it work. I'll
Mhm.
figure out how to serve you." And it's like, "Nah, I'm a collaborator. I'm a co-creator.
Yeah.
I am 100% in for whatever you are showing up for, and I will be
Mhm.
there and I'll help you like build it bigger, but I'm
Mhm.
not there to serve people. I don't want to be a
Mhm.
servant leader. I don't want to do any of those kind of like those contexts. Like it's just no,
No.
no, we're
All
not
cat.
doing that anymore. Like nobody, we just, it's just gross energy, right?
Yeah.
Like I owe you this. Ugh.
Mm.
Nothing drains me faster than having like someone say, I owe you something. No, you don't. I'm Xing out whatever bill,
Right.
whatever. Stop it. Like, because I don't want that energy. I don't want
Yeah.
that in there.
No.
I want us just to create cool stuff together.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask you a hard question.
Okay.
What's your relationship like with asking for help?
Oh. Que- Questions continue. Relationship with asking for help. I am, oh man. I'm still leaning into asking for help. There are certain things that I've gotten so much better about asking for help around, and then there are other things where I'm like, nope, I got it, 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 I'll do it. Nope, nope, no need. Um, just because like it's uncomfortable. I think what it is about help is that help is vulnerability. Like help is intimate, and there is no intimacy without vulnerability and trust. And so if I don't have not seen enough from someone or in a space where I feel like I can trust, or that it's a safe enough space for me to be vulnerable, I am not asking for help. Just not going to do it. I will figure it out on my own. Smart girl. I figured out a lot on my own. Granted, it has taken me so much time, which is again, when we talk about energy management,
Yeah.
like the time that it takes to figure it out for myself, when it would be just so much easier to get the help from somebody who I don't know if I can really trust, those kinds of things. So there have been situations where I have had no choice. I think my relationship with help actually has gotten better because it's been like a get down or lay down situation, which I say all the time. Like you're either you get down like of my own free will, like I am getting down because I realize that the universe, my intuition, my personal spirit team, whatever, is like it's time for you to get down, or you get laid down, and that is usually when you don't really want to get down, and then the powers that be, whatever, come and say you're going to lay down, and you were laid down. So
Yeah.
I've my relationship with health has gotten better because I've been laid down. I've had no choice but to ask for help because I couldn't do it, period. So it's gotten better. I know it's going to continue to improve.
Yeah.
um but yeah, help is hard.
Yeah, and then of course there's the other side of it. What's your relationship to receiving help?
My relationship to receiving help, that also could use a little bit more work.
Yeah.
I think it's like my relation to to receiving anything, like even compliments. It could be really difficult because it's not that um I don't believe the help that I'm receiving or the compliments or whatever that I'm receiving. It's just like, how long do I gotta sit with this? Kind of situation. And I think we as people are often conditioned to believe that help is weak. It's a demonstration of weakness. Or not enoughness in some way. Like the reason you're asking for help is because you aren't enough to get the job done by
Yeah.
yourself, or you're weak in some way. And so it's like unconditioning, myself and other people, of course, too, to be able to receive help graciously. I'm always grateful when I receive help. However, it might take some internal dialogue on my part to be able to sit with someone is going to help you to do this. They want to help you do this. I'm like, why? Why? What do you want? You want something? Want me to give you what? You want me to give you some money? What's I owe you now? Like, you start to ask these questions. So it can be difficult to ask for and also receive help, but it's necessary in my life because again, energy management. It takes so much not to ask for help. It takes so much. It's such a huge, heavy burden to feel like you have to do it all yourself. And if you
Yeah.
have to do it all yourself, then what are you not doing that would feel better to you? What are you not doing that would be better to you? What are you not doing that would be better for you and all the people that you're meant to help or inspire or motivate or serve in one way or another? Who, like, the people that you're meant to impact? Like if you're pushing boulders up a hill that it's not for you to push.
And I've seen you in the catalyst, like working not just with me, but with Darcy and other members. Like
Yeah.
you're also a co-creator. Like I've seen you, you've had an idea and then someone feeds into it and then you feed into that and then they feed into it. And it becomes this like bigger, cooler thing than you had,
Mm.
whether you started the idea or someone else started the idea. I've
Yeah.
seen it happen where you both have, stepped into that role of support, help, support, feeding
Mhm.
into each other. And
Yeah.
the idea is way better. It's just cooler, right?
Yeah.
We take
Yeah.
like coming at it ourselves. It's just like such an
Mhm.
interesting process. But
Mhm. And that's part of the thing that's helped me with receiving help. Like it's so one of the things that's great about the Catalyst is the people who were there. They're like so many experts, so many people in there willing to help, willing to share, willing to help you in any way that you need and vice versa. So everybody there is just wonderful. And
yeah,
so the people that come in and say, "Hey, Marisa, can you help me?" Or "Hey, Darcy, can you help me?" "Hey, Briar, I was wondering if you can help me." "Veronica, I have this operations question." "Hey, Alice, I'm getting ready to do a summit or maybe a membership. What should I do? What do you think?
yeah,
Can we go into the room?" And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching everyone just kind of flitting around with these little side projects and asking whether they are in the room or they're going to other rooms to,
yeah,
have these side project conversations. And I'm like, this is a part of the experience that I'm also paying for. Like, this is available for you too. You don't have to just watch. And I've seen people in that space, like, you could feel the tense energy sometimes
yeah,
because people have come with some idea and they're just like, this is the thing. And
yeah,
then once they're like, what do you guys think? And it's like, well, and the constructive criticisms or the have you thought about this or what about that? And how does this work
yeah,
with this? And what about your own personal life experiences? How are you going to have time for that? And sometimes they get a little angry or a little
yeah.
testy,
Oh yeah.
but it's
We've seen it.
really, yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
They get a little angry and testy because it's not that they don't want to hear that. They want it to be a yes, red stamp, go, go, go,
yeah.
absolutely do it.
Approval.
But
Yeah,
yes, but that's not the space that we're in. Like we're not
yeah,
going to lie to you. We're only trying to help. We're only trying to give you information for you to think about how this actually fits in your life. And they may be testy in a moment, but they come back like, I've thought about it. You are right. Maybe I should raise the price of this, or maybe this doesn't really align with my brand, or maybe there's a piece that I could pull out that I can add here. And then it's like, yes, absolutely. And you could do this. And then it's like a whole thing. So
yeah,
I started asking, like, hey, Darcy, would you mind taking a look at something that I'm working on? And I'm sitting there like, like chewing up
yeah,
all my nails. Like, I hope she likes it. Cause again, I'm still dealing with my stuff. I want my stuff to be perfect. I don't want anybody to look at my stuff and be like, you spelled something wrong, or why are
yeah.
you using two spaces after a period as opposed to
I'm like,
one? I'm like, look,
that's a
I
color
will do that
choice.
to them. Right, right.
Oh, that's
I
a
will,
color choice.
right. Yeah, I heard that and I was just like, you know what? I love it. Move around. Like, don't think I missed that. It was silence. We were just giving each other the stare like, I'm like, but there was a reason for that choice. It was intentional. So I'm
Yeah,
sticking with it. But
yeah.
I appreciated that
But
that was
you
the
need to
feedback.
know that as well, right? So
Yeah.
that's an interesting reflection. The thing is like sometimes we get that criticism and we think it's personal
Yes.
and it's not.
No.
Especially when we're looking at businesses because I hate to say this to people, but it's like no one cares about your personal opinion as a business owner. You're really
No.
building things for someone else.
Yes.
You're getting the benefit because you're enjoying it, it's fueling your life, all that stuff. But
Hmm.
you're always building something for someone else to enjoy. So
Yeah.
when you get that kind of feedback or you get those questions like, why'd you pick that color? It's not a personal, like no one's stabbing you personally.
No.
It's actually for you to go, well, I picked that color because and you've heard me say this too, because people give me feedback and I'm like, yeah, good point. And I'm glad you said that because I
Hmm.
wanted people to be jarred on the page. I wanted you
Hmm.
to personally feel uncomfortable with
Hmm.
this design so that it stopped your
Hmm.
eye. And I think this is like, it's been interesting because people are like, wait, what? I'm like, yes. So it did what it did what it was supposed to
Hmm.
do. I wanted to see if you would stop and be annoyed at what I did so that you would
Hmm.
actually read the content beside.
Yeah.
And then people
Yeah.
go, wait, what? And I'm asking that same question. You pick that
Hmm.
color, you choose that layout. Why are you doing it? Because it
Hmm.
shouldn't be just this mindless, I put this up and I
Yep.
hope it works. I want to hear what you're doing because when you give me that answer, we're then rolling that out into a marketing plan. We're then rolling
Yeah.
that out into a content creation plan. We're
Exactly.
then rolling that out into this omni-channel focus where
Yes.
we draw people to that rust color. We're
Exactly.
totally making them look at that rust color and know
Hmm.
that it is your product.
Yeah.
There is a
Yeah.
reason. But if you can't tell me that, I
Mm-hmm.
know that you're not going to go create it in the rest of your marketing. I know that you're not going to go create the story that attaches people to that thing that
Mm-hmm.
you did,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels personal.
Yeah. And I love that you said that because, first of all, yes, it does feel personal, which is part of the reason why people are like, I don't even want to bring my little baby here to get ripped to shreds by you vultures in here that are just trying to tear my stuff down, which
Yeah.
is not the purpose of it at
No.
all. I
No.
mean, a lot of us in that space, I mean, the space is for people who've been in business for a period of time. They have business experience. And so all of us in that space, we are out in our own respective communities. We've seen so much stuff, and we've been conditioned to think that there are some things that are acceptable simply because Marie Forleo has been doing it for 20 years, or this person has been doing it for 17 years, or
Right.
we've only seen it done like this in so many years. And so we just go out, we pick the colors, we pick the certain fonts. This is the location for my
Yeah.
brand
Beige on
photo.
beige.
Right, beige on beige. I gotta have the curly hair and the Starbucks mug and the iMac laptop and with backdrop of the Eiffel Tower in the back
Yeah.
because everybody was doing that for a period of time.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, why am I really doing this? Does this really align with what my product or offering is? Does it smell like this? I remember you talked about this in the room. Does it smell like this? What's it smell like? What's it taste like? And I was like, that is a way to think about it. And this gives it another layer. This gives it some texture,
Yes.
And so when you're thinking about these things, to your point, you can easily communicate all of this to the people who are ultimately seeing this, who you want to draw in and who is buying. And so I think that a lot of the questions that you end up asking really are to see, like, how much did you really think about this? Is this really you? Or is this the industry that says we should use green where we're talking about earth
Yeah.
related things? And and so that's really important for you to really like be connected into every sense of the things in your business, your colors, your branding, your offering, your key messages. Jesus, I hate it when you mention key messages, but they are so very important, right?
Yeah.
So all of it, like if it's your business, you have to be here with it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like I'm very used to people getting mad. And I know that sounds really strange. Everybody hearing this is going, why is everybody mad at Marisa? And it's just because I'm very like, I don't part of it is that sometimes we get criticism and feedback and it's malicious. Like it's just that people don't see what our vision is and we don't like, and so we're used to that. And so it can be hard to ask for help because you've had such a bad experience. So
Yeah.
I always like leave room for trauma. I always leave room for, I'm like, we got a whole couch here. Would you like to lay the trauma? Like, go ahead, lay every.
Stand by the ficus,
Yeah, go.
breathe
There's
in.
that's right. And we put the plants in the room. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we'll show you. But we put the ficus in the room. It's cleaning out. It's the oxygen in the room. But it's like we've always leave room for trauma. We always leave room for previous experience and
Yeah.
that. So the anger, I'm never worried about. I'm just like let it go. Like, and actually, I'm happy. I'm happy when people experience a feeling, especially
Yeah.
in regards to their business. But
Yeah.
but the thing is like when he says something like the smell, like that's an interesting because it stops people, right? They're like, I don't know what my brand smells like, and then all of a sudden they go, wait a second, it's vanilla cloves, and I'm like,
Yeah.
your brand's vanilla cloves, game on, right? And people are like, wait, what? I'm like, vanilla cloves, and then I'll go and put like a whole visual perspective together, like, wait, that is my brand.
That is
I'm like,
it.
that's it, right? It was it just got you out of your head, out of that. I've got to be perfect. I've got to have this, I've got to ask the perfect question. I've got to, no, just like show up and be in there. Now, you dropped a few things that you've picked up that I wasn't talking to you directly, but you
No.
also said, wait a second, I got to do
That,
this for myself, right? So
yeah.
you've received help in that instance, right?
Yeah.
You were in the room, you received help, and you probably didn't even think about it. You're just like, making a note for myself.
Yeah.
That's receiving.
And another way that I've received help in there again is when I've heard other people come in there and they've put their idea out there and there's some questions and you again feel the tension and they're getting testy and I'm like I can sense the energy. But I'm also like I went to school for business. I'm a business person. Business is in my blood. Like it's in my family line. Like business is what we do. And so even though I can I'm compassionate and I can understand. I'm empathetic about how they are feeling in the moment that they're being judged or there's rejection or stuff is getting ripped to shreds. Like I can understand that. And I can also see why these questions are being asked. I may not want to answer these questions when it comes to something that I've prepared, but I
Yeah.
understand in this moment when I'm seeing it happen to somebody else, like why these questions are being asked. It's very specific. And then when they're starting to answer and things are starting to become a little bit more clear, I'm like, exactly. So it makes me feel like even if I bring my little baby out here, my little baby chick,
Yeah.
look at her, isn't she pretty?
So
And you guys
cute.
are like, we got questions for the baby chick. And I'm like, Jesus.
So yeah, what are you going to do with it once it grows up bigger? Where are we
Right,
going to put it? What's the pen like? What are we
right, right,
feeding it? How much does it need to be
right,
heated? Like, yeah,
right. How the cat's going to receive it,
yeah,
kind of situation. But that means that, so now when I go in there and I ask questions and I'm asking for people to give me feedback, like I take a step back, I have my own little pause. Like now, before you start to get a little testy
yeah,
about why they're asking certain questions or what this is
yeah,
about, recognize they're asking you this because it's something that you're going to have to work through, something that you're going to
yeah.
have to figure out, it's something that's going to have
And
to
they
be
love
conveyed
you. They
in your
love
messaging.
you. They
Yes.
love you. They're not asking this to tear it down. They're not
No.
asking it. They're asking because, oh my God, you're about to succeed. You're about to have this incredible thing coming at you. But let's just get all of those
Yes.
obstacles out of the way
Out of the
so
way.
we can just strut on through. And then we
Yes.
get to just be like, yes,
Confetti
absolutely.
me, please. Confetti me,
Absolutely.
please.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's, it's hard because like I'm a disaster planner. It's my specialty. I like to anticipate all the things that are going to trip you up ahead of time, and then we're just
yeah,
going to put the stuff in place right now. But
right.
people also get like part of nourishing yourself and commitment to yourself and receiving help is knowing when you've had enough. So if I've
Mhm.
asked too many questions and you need a time to step back, you just say that. You're just
Just say
like,
that.
and I'm so used to it. Like after 20 plus years of doing this with companies and brands and people, I'm not offended. I'm like,
Mhm.
cool. I'll see you tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
or in a couple days. And then a couple days, people they always come back and go,
Mhm.
when you asked me this? And I was like, yes. And you're like, I hated you. I'm like, you
For a
did.
second, you were on my
And
list.
why? And I'm always like, and why? And they're like, because I have been ignoring this thing in my business forever, and now
Yeah.
you just went and made me sit on it. And I'm like, I made you
Mhm.
sit on it. I made you like,
Stand
rotate. I
on
made
it.
you look around. I made you like lift it up. And I get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
100%. But that's part of being committed to yourself too, is
Yes.
knowing that you get to walk away
Yes, you
when it's too
do.
much. Like
Like, up.
regulate yourself.
I can't. Absolutely. And there's so much space in there to do that. I mean, you could simply like there's an area where part may be muted. Go right down to your little corner, mute your mic, have your little temper tantrum or whatever you need to do to get the energy out. And yeah, or there is also the leave button. You can say, you know
Oh,
what, good night.
yeah. Or like, I'm gonna go to the catalyst room and I'm gonna listen to some cat
You
purring
can't
for a
curse.
bit, and then I'm gonna come back
Right.
and then and then let's
Right.
go. Right?
Right. So, and that is a part of that too is also a part of personal evolution. Like when you start to know and learn yourself, you're like, okay, I know where my limits are.
Yeah.
I can recognize when I'm starting to get triggered before I get there. I know that once I get triggered, that this is the kind of reaction that I'm going to have. So I don't want to do that. And so I'm going to put a spacer in between the line that I'm getting to that's going to cause me to react in a certain way. And
Mhm.
that spacer is, you know what? Thank you. I'm going to have to sit on this. I will be back in here a little later on this week. I got to think a little bit more on what you've talked about. Thank you so much for your time. And exit stage left. No one is, whether anybody feels a certain way about what you said, what you did, whatever, like, doesn't matter. You're doing this for you. This is about what you need to do for you to make sure that you don't get to the kettle is whistling and you have popped off to the highest of pop offtivity, like kind of
Mhm.
situation. And this is a space where people are only here to help. They're not here to hurt in any way, shape, or form. So that is part of what it means to really lean into being helped, finding spaces where people care, where people are genuine, where people are kind and compassionate, when they're empathetic and all those good things, where they're just wanting to help you. And so if you need, before you lean in and ask for help, even in spaces that you pay for, because you're not really sure sometimes, because again, the vulnerability, all the conditioning, all that stuff, just watch like how people show up in there, at watch how people, what kind of responses people receive when they're asking for help,
Yeah.
watch what kind of help that they receive from other people, and pay attention to how you feel about it. Like, pay attention to what is coming up in your body, pay attention to sensations or stories that come up or things that you hear, but listen very closely and feel very closely, because if you feel that the kind of help that people are giving in here may feel a little harsh, maybe, but in your spirit, like in your body, you feel like it's genuine.
Yeah.
Everyone is kind, everyone is good hearted, everybody wants to help genuinely. And it really is an environment where people are safe, even if they're not hearing what they want to hear. Then it is safe enough for you to lean a little in, ease into asking for help, and then having your own experiences. So you don't have to jump with both of your feet into the waters of Lake Minnetonka to
Yeah.
see if it's what you think it is. Like, you can dip your toes in and discern. Like, that's a part of getting to know yourself. That's a part of the self discovery. So you do that, and then you make more discerning decisions. And if you find that these people are vicious, they really aren't here to help, they're just a bunch of people who are gossiping and thieves and whatever, 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 then you know, like,
Yep.
look, cancel your membership and move around.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Don't give them anything. Like, but
Yeah.
it's your choice. You have the ultimate decision to say, how far am I going? But
Yeah.
you can also like dial it back a little bit, just so that you can make an informed decision. So that's what it's about. Like, learning yourself, growing, going on this journey. You're going to make mistakes. There're going to be people that you ask for help that just really don't have the capacity, don't have the capability, don't want to, whatever. You'll have to do your own work to work through how you feel about that. But it's not for everybody to do. But you find your people. You find your safe spaces. They're
Mhm.
out there, trust me.
Yep. There's a big old world that we often have no idea exists beyond our front
Mhm.
doorstep, and
Yes.
there's available. Okay, you and I could talk for 4 years, and it wouldn't be enough. Um,
Right.
let's give people an idea. What's it like to work with you? How do they work with you? What are the options? We've got the taste, the chamber. You've got your dynamic affirmations. Give us a little rundown of where people can find you.
Oh, okay. Well, you can start with dynamicaffirmations.com. I have something called The Garden, and in there I talk about utilizing affirmations in a different way to assist you on your own personal journey to confidence, self love, all those things. I'm speaking all over the place, so I'm doing this podcast tomorrow. I'm so excited. I am, I've dusted off my mic. I'm back out talking about the different astrological phenomena, in particular, the upcoming eclipse season. Somebody take the wheel. The solar eclipse is April the 20th. The lunar eclipse is May the 5th, and there is a lot happening during that time. So I'm talking tomorrow in the salon in Create the Rules about how to navigate all of that. It's going to be really juicy. It's tomorrow night at, is it 7 p.m.? It's 7 p.m. Eastern, right?
Yeah, and if you're listening to this at any point, just go to createtherules.com. All of them are listed. I'm sure Biba's going to be doing salons throughout the year, especially as we have eclipse season, rocking the boats as we speak. And so do check it out on createtherules.com, because Biba is creating salons and workshops and all sorts of fun stuff. Plus, your speakers, you're a speaker in the Catalyst Connect. So there's a great opportunity no matter when you hear this podcast.
Yes, yes. And I also have something called The Taste. It is an intuitively guided ritual ceremony, intuitive guidance. Like, I never know what the activities are until I am intuitively guided to, like, you're going to do this. You should have something for this. This is what people are going to come up with. So this one in particular is around shedding, which is again why the color I chose was was the color I chose. Look at your face.
Noted.
So it's around shedding. It is during the eclipse season which is going to be extremely transformational. It could be very jarring for people. But there are some abrupt endings that are happening for some new beginnings, which is also the spring. So this is the plant seeds season, but you want to plant seeds that are not limited. You don't want to plant seeds that are based on the limiting experience, the traumatic experiences that we had during our harsh fall and winter months, because the last quarter of 2022 was very difficult for a lot of people for all kinds of reasons. Not just me, but I mean, I've heard so many stories in my personal life with my friends, my family, and then so many of you like on Facebook that I connect with, and then I've seen your posts about like how like prayers here, thoughts and prayers, please. Like it was just a lot. And those kinds of experiences are traumatic experiences. And what typically happens with traumatic experiences is that they kind of layer a blanket over how you operate. It layers a blanket over the decisions that you make. So when we're talking about utilizing this beautiful, well, it may not feel like that at the moment, but it is very beautiful energy, very potent, powerful energy during eclipse season. And we're supposed to be planting seeds of our desires, the things that we want to manifest. We've got this blanket of trauma from what we just went through. And then we're wanting to plant seeds with the consideration of we don't want to have this experience again. I'm only going to plant a seed to go on one trip for a week because I don't think that I can be away for too long because of what happened. You know what I mean? So you're creating all of these things. You're setting yourself up ultimately with limits in mind. And all that does is demonstrate that you don't trust. And that isn't the move.
Gotta
So
get my rug dirty. I can't, yeah. Can't be
yeah,
can't be too pretty of a rug because I'm gonna get some mud on it.
you're going to get some mud on it. So it's not even like, well, you know what? I just don't even want a rug now. It's just going to be what it is. Like, that's not the answer. The answer is to do some work around releasing the trauma, the stigma, all of that stuff that occurred so that you are coming to some new intentions, these new seeds that you're planting without limit, without worry, without fear, just complete and total boldness. Like you're going for it. These are the seeds that you want to plant. But it's hard to plant like seeds like that when you're burdened by all of this stuff that happened that was bad and you don't want to feel it again. It was difficult. Oh my God, I was so crazy and whatever. So that is taking place on the 22nd of April. So it's during eclipse season. I'll be utilizing that energy in this private ceremony. The thing about the taste is it's intuitively guided, meaning that even the people who get invited I get intuitive hits on who to invite. So you get a personal invitation. But if you would like to be considered for this or future tastes, then I have a link for that. I'm going to have to put that in the comments. I think it's neon.ly/the taste.
Okay. We'll follow up. We'll get that on and also on Create the Rules on your profile page for being on the podcast. We'll get those links up so that because that's an all the time they can get on that waiting list throughout the year, right?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. So much, a lot of stuff happening. This is a good time. It's going to be very rocky, but
can't wait. I'm ready. Yeah. Thank God we have each other. And I got enough bubble wrap for you and me and anybody else. You need bubble wrap? We just wrap ourselves up and we just go, okay, let's go. Pop. Fine.
We've got tornado shelters, bomb shelters, whole nine.
Let's go. Let's do this
We're
together.
good.
Yeah. Okay, I have been ending all of these with just a recognition of what I know about you and what I appreciate about you. So just sort of buckle in, get ready, and just do what you need to do to hear this. But I mean, I love you. I just absolutely, from the bottom of my heart to the top of my heart to all around here, just absolutely appreciate you in my life. You are one of the key catalysts in my world. You not only stepped into the catalyst when I was just like, what are we doing this space? And you're like, I don't know. Let's, you're that friend that like comes over and is like, I don't know what to wear. And you're like, let me just go through the closet and we're going to fit, no, you're just like, let's do this. And I've talked about how you've impacted my own personal evolution journey, but when you show up you show up and you are just 100% for the people in your sphere. And I think anyone that comes into that sphere and is invited into that sphere is the luckiest person, because you're genuine, you're all in, you are completely honest, you are completely, in their best interest, but also you don't hold back. And that is something that is, I crave that in my life. I don't want somebody that's just gonna, like, kind of dance around the issue. It's like, I want to hear it, and I want to hear your opinion, and you have some incredible perspectives in the world around us. But you're also just so freaking creative, and you're the ideas that come out of your head. Sometimes I'm just like, Biba. And we're always like, and it's like these things that you, I think sometimes you're just like, you let them tumble out. I don't know if you quite know the impact that the seeds that you're planting, but they're definitely growing. They're definitely blossoming. The ficus in the room is you are bringing all that energy, creating all that oxygen for people. And I cannot imagine the catalyst without you, but I also can't imagine my life without you. Like, you got me. You can't, you like start running, I'm gonna be like, I got keeping up. I will go rent a scooter to like keep behind, put, I'm coming, because I knew that, like, when we met each other in that, like, I was like, I remember saying to my husband, I was like, you should see Biba. And he was like, oh. And I'm like, I don't know. There's something about her. First of all, she has to quit her job. And I don't know why I'm supposed to tell her that. But, and I was just like, hey, I don't know why I'm supposed to say this, but I think you have to quit your job. And you were like, who are you? And I was like, I don't know, but you need to quit your job. And then, like, the next time I saw you, I was like, didn't you just still quit your job? And anyways, but I knew, like, and you were like, yes, actually I do. Thank you for mentioning that again. But like, that was a connection I had, and I didn't even know why. I was just like, I feel like this is my best friend, and she's like right here, and I don't know, you're in my phone, and I don't know how this works, but like, I love you. You are absolutely just one of the best people in the world. If I could give you best person in the world, you get Catalyst. Yesterday we were joking, because I said I was going to give somebody the Catalyst member of the month, and they said, is there an actual member of the month? I'm like, well, it's always Biba, but like, every month it is Biba, but this month we might make an exception and make it someone else. But everyone's like laughing. They're like, it is Biba. And I was like, it is Biba. It's every month is Biba. It's just gonna be like this little joke. I'm gonna create a room, and it's gonna have all the members of the month, and it's just gonna be like Biba every month of every year. It's just, we're just gonna repeat it. I'll just keep adding it in. But it's a joke, but it's not. It's absolutely 100% the truth, because of the gifts that you bring into the world. So if you are listening to this, I am absolutely 100%. Please go find Biba. If you are looking for someone to help you in your personal evolution, just to explore some of these ideas, explore some of these thoughts, explore some of these possibilities in your life, Biba is the person that you want to go see. She doesn't pay me to say this either. It is 100% unsponsored. Biba's the real deal. And I recommend Biba to as many people who are going through stuff. I'm like, Biba. It's like, what should I do? I'm like, Biba. Like, kind of just yeah, it's not a verb. It's not you when you Google help. No, Biba help. Like, you just go Biba. Like, it's just, what am I gonna do? Biba it. You're just gonna Biba. You're like, really? I'm like, yeah, Biba. Here you go. Like, there's no point in even going anything further. Biba. So if you're listening to this at any point, please do check out. We will put up it's dynamicaffirmations.com. And Biba, just thank you for being in the world. Like, holy moly. Like, high five your mom. I'm going to high five your mom. Be like, yes, an amazing job bringing Biba into the world. And I need to, like, send her a thank you card with, like, some snacks and just be like, thank you for Biba.
Oh, got me on here crying. I cannot believe you. But thank you so much. I love you. I love the space that you're creating. I love you're doing amazing, important work. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of it in the way that I am. So I just,
89% of it is you basically making me do all the things I don't want to do, and step into who like, just really loving life, right? Like
Yeah.
I do say that people are like, wow, you've really changed. I'm like, oh, well, I actually hang out with Biba. Again, I Biba'd it. I Biba. And I have said that to people, right? And it's I definitely do try to give you as much credit as I can, because you're really good. We talk about like people hating me. You're really good at making me uncomfortable, and I love it. I'm always like, sometimes I just need a hit, and I come in and be like, Biba, guess what I did?
And I'm like, oh shit.
Need a little adrenaline. I need a little adrenaline hit of Biba scorn.
Yeah.
Just like,
And I will gift you. You know the gifts are coming. I'm doling them out like cards, baby. I'm like, here you go. Here's Oprah, a couple of side eyes.
I haven't even told you about the one last night, and Briar is living in fear because Briar's like, Biba's gonna, it's such a good idea. I'm like, I know. And she's like, Biba, yeah, I'll tell you later. It is a really good idea though. But
this is how you always start. This is a great domain. This has great potential.
And then they tell you, and you're like, oh no.
I see it. But why? Why did you do this?
Well, wait till you hear this one. Briar was all ready to like be like she was gonna put on her Biba pants, and then I told her, and she's like, shoot. Damn. Yeah, it's good. And I was like, yeah, I know, I'm gonna have to do it. And Biba's gonna be
I'm surprised I didn't hear from Briar. You know what? I haven't seen Briar today in the room. That's why. Because if I would have seen her, she would have told me, because she has dimed you out on a number of occasions.
I know.
And you come in there, I'm like, oh, do you have something to tell me? Yeah. Like the last time. So you don't you have something to tell me?
Yeah, Briar's a snitch. We know that Briar's a snitch. We know it. We love her, but Briar's a snitch, and that's the end of it. Okay, we're like, it's like a 1.5 hour. Well, literally, we could talk for 4 hours. But if you were watching this on the replay, please do post in the comments, leave some questions, talk about Biba and I, or wherever this is being published. Biba and I will see it, and please be a part of that conversation. If you're also wanting to see this, it'll be on YouTube, and it is put as an audio podcast, so you can listen to it over and over again. If you need to hear Biba being in my business and telling it to everybody in the world because it's impacting you, please re-listen to it, share it with people. This is how we basically help everybody come along and realize that they just need to go buy the rug. They just need to go for the Idris Elba of business ideas or their goals and just step into it. Thank you so much, Biba, for being here. I love you. And I know we're going to do this again.